After covering both Grave Encounters films, there was one movie that kept popping up in my comment section, getting the utmost praise for its similar concept but even scarier execution. And that, of course, was Cat in the Hat 2003. Wait a minute, what the? James.
Huh? What happened?
What is this?
That would be the Gonjiam script?
No, this is a Cat in the Hat script. I'm a horror channel.
What? Give me that. Girl, I'm up to bat. So put that cat in the hat. Oh yeah, this is definitely the wrong script.
You don't say.
My mistake? Here you go.
Thank you. As I was saying, getting the utmost praise for its similar concept but even scarier execution. Gonjiam, Haunted Asylum, a Korean found footage horror movie about a group of horror enthusiasts who run a popular web series investigating a rumored haunted asylum, which made waves on the internet when it came to the horror community. Released in 2018, I didn't watch the film until around 2021 or 2022, so I was a little late to the party, but it's been exactly that long since I watched it, so let's see how well it holds up. Let's get into it. We start off with some teenage boys sneaking into an abandoned building, and I'm gonna call out something I actually really love about this movie. The first quarter of it, at least for me, has such a different tone compared to what happens later on. And that sounds like a bad thing, but honestly, it's a nice change of pace. It's almost even lighthearted, for lack of a better word, but I'll get to that. What is that? Is that Addison Rae? Who printed this out and put this here? Anyway, they seem to be looking for a room 402 to be exact. From the looks of it, they made a bet with one of their friends that would come here and open the door and leave. Now, what have we learned about making bets with our friends about going onto demented property? Honestly, I love the acting in this scene. It's genuinely goofy. Look at his face. He's having the time of his life right now. He uses a hammer and some sort of screwdriver in an attempt to get the door open. It's all going good up until they hear a noise behind them.
Fuck no, baby!
The camera pans back and there's a face in one of the rooms staring at them. And then it switches to an intro to a web show called Horror Times. And we're introduced to one of our main characters, Ha-Jun. Now forgive me, I am a dumb American boy, so if I butcher the pronunciation of any of these names, I apologize. Turns out those high school kids we just saw went missing. No surprise there. Ha-Jun wonders if it's fake, but there's a news article covering the boys' disappearances. Love how they were kind enough to blur their faces in the photo, but completely show them in the video. Also, this is gonna be their third investigation on this web show. Damn, at least the Grave Encounters crew made it to 5 episodes before they got catapulted into damnation. And on top of that, this asylum is listed as top 3 most haunted places in Korea. And is on the 7 most freakiest places on the planet list. And we're going here? Willingly? Can I call off that day? I gotta mop the ceiling of my house in another country.
You're scared, aren't you?
What? Me? Scared? I never get scared.
Boss, look, an alien! Where? Ah!
You thought that was so funny, didn't you? Who the hell put you in charge of editing anyway? The hospital opened back in 1961 and was known as one of the best mental hospitals in Korea until it was shut down in 1979 due to a massive amount of patients killing themselves. That's gotta be a huge slap in the face. I thought we were making so much progress. And the director of the hospital disappeared as well. I think
If you say we have a mystery on our hands, I will physically, verbally, and psychologically assault you.
that's 3 different kinds of assault. You have a problem. Also, this shot is fire. No complaints from me. We then see footage of director Park Young-ae, and she was quite the public figure, receiving praise and awards for her work done in the hospital. However, this was rumored to be nothing but a facade, as it was alleged this place was built right on top of a burial site of countless Korean resistance soldiers who were murdered and tortured by the Japanese, a way for no one to trace the bodies. And the asylum shtick was only a cover-up, so the director could commit murder on countless patients and mask it as suicide. Damn, we're only 4 minutes in and it's Enderman Dark in this bitch. It's also theorized that the director had killed herself as well, but since she had gone missing, this is only a rumor. But whatever happened in this asylum, it has a very twisted history. Since then, there have been a lot of reported ghost sightings, but the main attraction of this haunted building is room 402, the same room those high school kids were attempting to get into, saying whoever enters the room is cursed to die. And we're just breaking into here to find this on purpose? The way humans work is fascinating. I swear, in the world of horror, if it's alleged or rumored or mysterious, all survival instincts go out the window. A room that kills me when I walk into it? Get this thing open, what are we waiting for? Ajun says that him and his team will be going into the asylum on October 26, which is the day it was permanently closed. They want to uncover the truth and see what actually happened in that asylum. I mean, maybe a nice Google search, maybe ask some locals. I feel like that's a safer option than going into the asylum itself. We cut to a cafe where our team of ghost hunters are coming together. We meet another one of our main characters, Ji-hyun, then walks in Ah-yeon, and then we meet Charlotte Moon. And I'ma let y'all know right now, if you don't want to see a grown man thirsting, then look away.
I think most people already did.
Then walks in Ha-jun, Seung-wook, and Sung-hoon. Ah yes, the gang's all here. Look at them, smiling, enjoying life. Anyway, Han-jun gives the girls a rundown on the Horror Time crew and what their individual jobs are. They then realize they're missing a member, as Jae-yoon runs past almost missing the entire crew. He comes up and they all get acquainted. And by acquainted, I mean Ji-hyun telling Jae-yu to fuck off. They head out to eat and start asking each other about their interest in the paranormal, and if they've been to any of the freakiest places on the list mentioned earlier. Charlotte says she's been to 3, 4 if you count my bedroom.
Please stop this madness.
They go over some more rumors of the asylum, such as some people claiming they heard the sound of a ping pong ball when they were in the building. Wait a minute. Nah, I couldn't be. Jae-yu asks why the director would murder her patients, but as I mentioned earlier, that's just a rumor. People just assume since they all went missing that she either murdered them and escaped or ultimately killed herself. It's rumored she hung herself in one of the bathrooms in the hospital. Her neck was stretched out more than a foot long.
She's a giraffe.
What the fuck? How did you get that from that? I could tell Jae-yu was gonna be our residential scaredy cat, which I never understood this role when it comes to horror. Like, I understand the scary cat who against their will got caught up in some scary shit, but the ones who willingly sign up for it? I mean, listen, if you need the money, who am I to knock the hustle? In fact, according to Hajun, they can make some serious cash since they're live broadcasting this investigation. I feel like that's even scarier. For example, usually in found footage, it's already been recorded and is just now being viewed by the world. Whereas a live broadcast, that's all happening real time. A slight delay maybe, but the spooky shit will be happening right at that moment. I already remember how helpless I felt when Sasha and Lance were down in those tunnels, but I couldn't even imagine watching it live as it happens. Hajun is hoping to get 1 million views off this thing, which is ambitious to say the least, but remember kids, never let anyone say you can't do it. They start playing some party games, and I gotta say the chemistry between the group is very nice. They bounce off each other very well, and I can see them all becoming lifelong friends after this. Oh wait, it's game day folks. They're making their way to the asylum while discussing even more rumors about the place. Apparently, even though the director was said to have been dead, no one has ever seen her ghost. However, they have seen the spirits of patients and a high school girl, which sounds random until we find out that allegedly 30 years prior, 3 high school girls had attempted to open room 402. The same thing those high school boys were trying to do in the beginning of the movie. I personally don't see the appeal myself. Why are we trying to break into cursed lands? Anyway, they were found unconscious right outside of the room. 2 of them went mad and killed themselves, and one of the girls never woke up. Apparently, this event is what started the rumor of room 402, and Jun says they're going to attempt to open it. Okay, yeah, stop the car. Yeah, I'm getting out. What do you mean why? Did you not hear what he just said? Opening up rooms that guarantee certain death aside, everyone seems excited/nervous about the whole thing. Jae-yu especially. He questions who will be the one to open the doors, so they decide to spin for it. Whoever the camera lands on will be the poor soul opening room 402. My wife, Charlotte initiates the spin. And it lands on Mr. Scaredy Cat himself. More road trip shenanigans occur, and to calm their nerves, they decide to launch themselves in the nearby water. And this is what I mean by the tone being so drastically different in the beginning compared to the rest. Like if this was a K-drama, I'd be having the time of my life. But since this is a found footage horror movie, I have to enjoy this while I can. They grab their luggage and hike in from the back since the front entrance to the asylum is closed. Jae-yu and the girls help Ha-jun set up the tent, while the other 2 head inside to install the CCTV cameras, so we can maximize the scares, of course. These also happen to be move cameras. Whatever motion they sense in the room, they follow it. I'm sure that'll be used for a jump scare in the future because why not? The guys head back up and they all eat their dinner to get some food in their stomachs. Also, these noodles look bomb, by the way. I haven't eaten yet while writing this, so I'm literally starving. The crew then gets GoPros, which will be used for recording their POV and their face. I actually really like that. Usually you would only see the first person POV and only the reactions of other people. Now we'll be able to see their own emotions if/when something spooky happens. Alright my friends, it's showtime. They all do their camera and sound checks and make their way towards the asylum. Also they find a pair of women's underwear on one of the tree branches. What type of freaky 69 god ghosts are we dealing with? First it's Miss Shaw from last video, and now it's the ghost in Gonjiam out here stealing drawers. Side note, the actress playing Charlotte is bilingual. And I'm sure other parts of the cast speak English as well, but she switches between it every now and then. I mention this because when they find the underwear, you can hear her in the background saying, "What the fuck?"
뭐냐 여기?
What the fuck?
I started cackling, I tell you. We also get a good look at the live broadcast website. Creepy indeed. And they've already passed 12,000 viewers. Damn horror times, y'all got it popping like that? They make their way down and take a look at the asylum in all its glory. All while Jae-yu and Sung-wook discuss taking a shit at the top floor. And ladies, I hope this proves to you that no matter what culture, time, place, or language, guys will be guys. They're about to move forward, but they hear police sirens in the background, and everyone ducks down low. I'd also like to mention that there's a lot of interference during this. The cameras are going in and out, and the crew doesn't seem to notice, since they don't have an inherent reaction, but it's definitely a little jarring at first. The coast is clear, and they all continue to go forward into the asylum. And now I can understand why a lot of people compare this to Grave Encounters, because we get a similar scene with them heading to the entrance door, and the message on the door says, "Enter and you will die." Just like when Lance and the crew found death awaits on the door when they were entering Cullingwood. Also, it says "fuck that" below it, and I'm with whoever wrote the second message. They all gather together to do their horror times intro and hustle into the asylum. And I don't know what it is, but this place is 10 times more scary looking than the asylum in Grave Encounters. The scariest thing about that place were the service tunnels. Charlotte's fine ass pours some holy water she got from the Myeongdong Cathedral into a bowl. Hopefully I pronounced that right. Also pouring some on the floor as well. Although she's saying this is to capture ghosts, when I feel like it would keep the ghosts away, unless they get fed up and knock all this shit over. Seong-wook is talking to the audience when a door slams in the background, and it just happens to be the door to the director's office. All of the old frame pictures are still there with a picture of the director playing ping pong, which probably explains the sound sound of a ping pong ball people hear when they enter the asylum. Another noise erupts between the group and a part of the ceiling broke off. That's a person? That's hair. That has to be a person. But then moments later they say it's not? Then what the fuck am I staring at? They must use a specific type of insulation in Korea because this looks like human hair. Anyway, Sung-wook says they'll proceed to go to all the rumored supernatural hotspots in the asylum, the first, third, and fourth floor, so they can document any ghost sightings. Charlotte and Ji-hyun tackle the first floor, as Charlotte gives a very energetic performance of her spray painting her signature on the wall. Spoiler alert, she'll regret this later. Also, I love Charlotte.
Yeah, we know. This is only the millionth time you've told us.
Attitudes like that are not welcome here, mister. But this is pretty much Charlotte's thing. She visits these freaky places and leaves her signature to signify she was there. And I'm sure it's cool for any of her fans to visit and see it in person. But that's bold to assume that any of her fans would go to any of these freaky places to begin with. I mean, what would you do for your favorite celebrity? Shit, if Megan Thee Stallion was in the basement of the Abaddon Hotel, I wouldn't not go down there.
Despicable.
Hush. They move out into the hallway and find the door to the laboratory and decide to head in. Lots of medical documents, tubes, needles, all kinds of stuff in here. Charlotte recognizes a spot in the corner of the room. It's where one of her friends had visited and took a picture in the same location. However, she accidentally knocks over a jar and ew! What the hell is that? I'm about to throw up my lunch. I can only imagine the smell. Speaking of which, it's so bad that they both have to evacuate the room. Also, Ha-jun is just super casual during this whole thing. Like, how am I supposed to be digesting anything you're saying while my nose is being assaulted by chemical warfare? We check in on Jae-yoon and Eun-yeon, who are on the third floor. And Jae-yoon is killing me. He is hilarious, I'm telling you. His mannerisms and the way he reacts and talks are all comedic gold. Especially when he tries to explain that this floor is colder than the last floor, but they're both the same temperature. So he gives us a bullshit explanation on sensory temperature, like that actually exists.
I looked it up and it's a real thing.
Wait, what?
Yep, it's on Google. First page.
Oh. Well, there's this thing called cap sensory and—
Oh, shut up.
Yeah, I'll just move on to the next scene. They move on to the shower room, which is one of the noted hotspots in the asylum. Also noting that an old stain on the wall just happens to be in the shape of a person. Oh shit, my senses are tingling.
You're what?
They head into the bathing room, and as Jae-yoon is speaking, he starts to freak the hell out and notices a head in the water. However, after further inspection, it's just a wig. Eun-yeon stating someone probably left it as a prank. Jae-yoon, on the other hand, is not having it. He is terrified. Eun coming closer to him with the wig while also laughing. Han-jun finds it humorous as well as we check back in on Ji-hyun and Charlotte on the fourth floor, which happens to be the biggest hotspot in the whole asylum. And not because Charlotte is there.
Please.
But they've got this hallway decked out with cameras and infrared sensors to catch any ghost movement. Probably because this happens to be the same hallway where room 402 is, the only locked room in the entire building. And I love them showing clips of Sung-wook attempting to open the door. The editing and comedic timing in this movie is just great, which is not something I thought I'd be saying about a found footage horror film. It serves as a good tension cutter, and I say we enjoy it while it lasts. Also, they have 55,000 people watching this at the moment. We getting paid tonight. We get these really creepy shots of the asylum, and I think the weather then look in this place is what adds to the atmosphere. With the asylum from Grave Encounters, it was creepy, yes, but also on the cleaner side compared to Gonjiam, besides the service tunnels, of course. The entire group meets back up to enter the director's room to do a ritual. A ritual? What are you saying to me right now? Like, what are you actually saying? I know I said demons be having expedited shipping, but usually they do it themselves. Why are we helping with the process? Anyway, they have strings hung up with bells attached to them. I'm assuming this is for any supernatural movement to be documented. Eun-yeon, being the youngest, is the one to conduct the ritual. She goes through the steps and everyone sits down together and waits for if anything happens. 80,000 views? These are like almost Kai Cenat numbers. Might have to take my stupid ass to a haunted asylum. We're making bank. The candles go out by themselves and the bells start ringing and everyone freaks out and runs out into the hallway. The crew gathers themselves together after what they just saw. We cut to Han-jun on the phone talking to Sung-wook and Sung-hung, and we come to realize they're all pieces of shit. Yeah, this whole thing, staged. All of it was fake. Orchestrated by the Horror Times crew to make a good show and accumulate more viewers. Ah, now I'm starting to see why this gets so many comparisons to Grave Encounters. Similar to that scene with Lance in Houston when he was having his vision of that girl who killed herself in the bathtub. Charlotte seems to have the best reactions, so they want to push her to her limits. The better the reactions, the more viewers they accumulate. They're already at 100K and they gotta make it to that million. If I was there, I'd slap all of you. Although they may not know it yet, they'll get their real supernatural experience soon enough. Something seems to be messing with the equipment in the tent where Ha-jun is, and I don't know how he could be out here alone. Like, I get it, he's the boss, but I would have at least had an extra person to keep me company or something. The group heads back into the laboratory room where Ji-hyun and Charlotte found that rooster snot. I can only imagine the stank in here. However, the doll that the girls had saw in the cabinet before, forgot to mention that, is in an entirely different place now. Sung-wook goes to pick it up and Charlotte for some reason is extremely against it, even getting to the point where she storms out of the room. They zoom in on the doll and it's the same one of the patients had in the picture with the director. Once everyone is gone, everyone starts laughing because their mission was successful in getting a rise out of Charlotte. Jackasses. And I hate to go against my wife like this, but her reasoning for freaking out, while valid, doesn't make any sense. She yells at Sung-wook saying you should never touch anything in a place like this because you could get cursed and be in serious trouble. That's fair, I get that. But did you not spray paint your name onto the wall? And yeah, I get that she didn't physically touch anything, but she wants them to leave everything like like they found it. You didn't find your name in here when you got here, Charlotte. If that's the case, then you're cursed as fuck. You literally branded the place with your signature. She wants to leave, but Sung-wook says no and he apologizes. Hong-jun gives him a little pep talk saying if we leave now, everything we come here for would have been for nothing. Might as well see it through and go home. Everyone agrees and Charlotte scolds Sung-wook one last time before they all continue with the investigation. They headed to the collective share room where patients will receive quote-unquote treatments, which I feel like this room was used for punishment. Lock them in these small wooden boxes and give them a taste of their own medicine. I feel like this would ironically drive them more mad. Sung-wook reaches into a square cutout in one of the boxes and something pulls his arm. He yanks back and gets loose and the girls start freaking out. Han-jun gets the bright idea to tell him to stick his arm back in and he's about to do so, but the girls are attacking him, telling him to stop before someone gets hurt. Ji-hyun decides to risk it and puts her own arm in there. The guys encourage her to stop, Han-jun included, but once she reaches her arm in there, nothing happens. Oh, I guess we were just worried about nothing. Holy shit! Charlotte and Sung-wook fight to get her free and she gets released and has deep scratches on her arm. I don't think that's supposed to happen. And then the door opens by itself as something manipulates Charlotte's scarf. I don't think that's supposed to happen either. They run out of the room and we cut to Jae-yoon and Eun-yeon who can hear the rest of the gang screaming their asses off. But at the same time, they also hear the ping pong ball sound. The same sound that other people had claimed to hear when they entered the asylum.
They about to die.
James, will you please? They then notice that the words on the wall have changed. When Ji-hyun and Charlotte first entered the room, it said let's live on the wall. Now it says let's die. The girls start freaking out and want to leave. The guys try to stop them. Seung-hoon is even about to tell them they faked the ritual, but Seung-wook stops him just in time. Ji-hyun has had enough and throws an earpiece on the ground. She grabs Charlotte and they both leave. Ha-jun checks the footage back and the message did indeed change, but he can't have his own crew getting spooked and leaving and ruining the whole operation, so he lies to them and says the message was the same the entire time, saying that Charlotte is probably just having a manic episode and she doesn't know what she saw. Ah, a master manipulator and an habitual liar. Kendrick told me about y'all. He says there must have been some thorns in the box that cut Ji-hyun's arm, and the wind must have blown Charlotte's scarf. Yeah, you're right, it must be real windy. Underground. They're not buying it though. Han-jun begins to cuss them out, saying they've got over 300,000 views and they could be rich. But Sung-wook doesn't want to hear it. He grabs both their earpieces and storms off. Aw, Han-jun, I guess being a douchebag doesn't pay. We cut back to Ji-hyun and Charlotte and my poor baby. Look at her. She's terrified. But she also says something I've been saying from the beginning. She should not have written her name on that wall. Literally just signed away her soul in front of thousands. Ji-hyun convinces her to get up and keep moving so they can go home. We cut back to Sung-wook and Sun-hoon who are discussing what they should do. Sung-wook decides they should ask for a bigger cut from the ad money they're gonna get, as compensation for their emotional stress in this demented ass building. Honestly, I'd ask for the same. They make a deal and we cut back to Han-jun watching back the footage from the investigation. He notices a glitch in the footage. But even weirder than that, all 6 members of the crew are in this frame. So who the fuck was filming this angle? Even scarier than that, I remember watching this scene and not even noticing that. Although as soon as Han-jun makes the discovery of our mysterious 7th camera, his teacup gets pushed off the table and the lights go out, along with the computer and all of the equipment. He starts cussing and yelling at the air, but then one of the screens comes back on. Sung-wook calls for Han-jun on the earpiece and proposes their raise increase. Han-jun takes a look at the amount of views they're getting and he agrees. He says he'll give everyone in the crew 20% more than what they agreed on. Oh, what a nice guy. Not. We cut back to Ji-hyun and Charlotte huffing and puffing their way through the woods. They think they're lost, but then they find the undies that Jae-yoon had tied to the tree earlier, signifying that they're going in the right direction. Back in the asylum, the guys are in the shower room continuing the investigation. However, I just realized the ghosts are now active, which means this area is not safe anymore. I get you guys want your moolah, but instead of banging on these doors, they're gonna start banging on you.
Hey, yo, what the fuck?
They hear a loud noise come from the supply room and they go to check it out. And all of a sudden, a wheelchair wheels in from out of nowhere. Han-jun is yelling at them to get their lines together, but Sung-hoon is frozen in fear. Sung-wook tries to engage with the audience to save the moment, but the door slams shut behind them, killing all momentum. What was the deal again? 44,000? I'm gonna need at least 100. They both look back at the door. However, when they turn back around,
What happened to your furniture, cuz?
yeah, all of the tables, chairs, and beds are on the ceiling. They smash down, and all of a sudden things start getting thrown left and right. Something gets flung at Sung-wook and knocks him out cold.
You got knocked the fuck out!
Sung-hoon tries to wake him up, but he is not budging. He says fuck it and tries to leave, but the door is locked. He tries waking up Sung-wook again, but still nothing. The door opens behind him and he gets dragged halfway through the hallway. He goes to run back in the room, but the door slams shut and he gets flung into the air, being knocked unconscious. Damn, the demon's just giving out fades tonight. Han-jun is shook, but hey, more views, yay. That's what you wanted, right, Han-jun? Right? Now this next scene is probably what haunted most of you when you first watched this film. Hell, I made it the thumbnail for a reason. We check back in with Ji-hyun and Charlotte and it seems they're going in circles. They once again see the pair of underwear on the tree from earlier. Then Ji-hyun notices a familiar smell. What the hell? It's the gorilla snot.
Thought it was Rooster.
Not now, but that's from the laboratory. How the hell can that be out here? Then all of a sudden more things from the laboratory appear on the ground. And that's when I made the terrifying realization that they never left. They're still in the hospital. They've been in the hospital this entire time. Unfortunately for Charlotte, she doesn't know that yet. She calls out for Ji-hyun, but she's not responding. Charlotte grabs her shoulder and turns her around and we get this. Yeah, bet you weren't looking forward to this frame. She starts whispering / muttering demonic gibberish. Her eyes completely black and her skin is pale pale as Casper the Friendly Ghost's forehead, or my best friend. Love you, Jean. Charlotte is terrified, and even worse, a bright light appears as she's lifted up by her hair, kicking and screaming. She eventually gets put down and makes a run for it, still being able to hear the demonic whispers from Ji-Hyun, whom I'm assuming is now dead/possessed. She makes it back to the tent, however, when she gets inside, she is not greeted by Hyunjun. In fact, it looks like one of the rooms in the asylum, which makes sense because they never left. However, this scene was the one that specifically scared me the most. Even rewatching this shit right now, I'm writing my script and my butt cheeks are clenched.
Hey, yo!
Her light turns on as she sees Ji-Hyun Blair witching it in the corner. She looks down to see the doll from earlier, and then we get this.
You think I'm about to... I'm not watching this! Look!
What the hell am I staring at? Is that an SCP? I'm not fucking equipped to be dealing with SCPs. Charlotte sees it, she recognizes it, and she turns away like,
Oh, I know I don't think I see what I'm seeing, what I'm thinking.
She turns back and yep, still there. Hey buddy, my name's Greaves. How's life?
Greaves, he's dead.
Don't you think I know that? I'm trying to make conversation.
With the demon.
Yes. Although now that you say it like that, it kind of sounds stupid.
That's because it is.
Anyway, she tries to slow walk away, but this thing drag foots its way back into her line of sight. And I'm literally hiding in my hood while writing this. She carefully tries to open the door nearby as to not set this thing off, but it's locked. His neck cracks and we once again get a look at Ji-Hyun whispering demonic ASMR to the camera. Charlotte throws subtlety out the window and just straight up starts banging on the wall and screaming for someone to help her. It goes silent, and when she turns back around, it's coming full speed at her. She screams as he grabs her by the neck and drags her off into the darkness. Damn it, I can't have shit in this house. Find myself a fine bilingual queen and she gets dragged into the pits of hell by a SCP wearing a diaper. Second time this month, I hate when that happens. Well, Charlotte's dead. R.I.P. wifey. We cut back to Sung-Hoon, who awakens from being folded like an omelet by the ghosts. He gets up and immediately starts running upstairs. Jae-Yoon and Eun-Yeon attempting to open door 402. Oblivious that a portion of the crew is now dead, he yells at them to stop, saying they need to grab Sung-Wook and get the hell out of here, since he's still trapped downstairs in one of the rooms. They both look at him startled and very confused. Hyunjun doesn't want him ruining anything since they're very close to 1 million views. He calls Eun-Yeon's phone and tells them to continue to open the door and not to listen to Sung-Hoon. Sung-Hoon grabs the phone from her and tells them the truth about the ritual being staged and everything being fake. However, everything they've been experiencing now is real, and they need to leave. Hyunjun is fed up, so he puts on his gear and decides to head it himself to open the door. Man, this guy is a piece of shit. All he cares about is views and money. He literally witnessed everything that happened to the guys earlier and still has $1 on his mind. It's like that time that Mr. Krabs sold SpongeBob's soul to the Flying Dutchman for 62 cents. We cut back to the gang and they hear the ping pong ball sound again. Then a ping pong ball comes flying at them. And then someone starts turning the doorknob and banging on the door and screaming. Wait, it's Charlotte. That's the door she was banging on earlier. She was in room 402 the entire time. No wonder she got packed up. She didn't stand a chance. Sung-Hoon is shook and once again he goes to run off, leaving the other two behind. But then the motion lights start going off and something is coming their way and fast. He turns around and starts running back to the others. They all start to freak out, but then room 402 opens by itself. The tripod knocks over and the camera cuts, hearing nothing but screams. We cut back to Hyunjun, who's frantically running towards the asylum. He activates the drone camera to get a better view of the building. And in the window, we see someone getting choked to death. I can't make out who it is, but they're struggling, that's for sure. Hyunjun is taken aback, but he still goes inside the building.
This guy's incorrigible.
Mans is not giving up on that Munyon. We cut back to the rest of the gang and they seem to be in a room partially flooded by water. They turn the camcorder light on and yep, that's water, alright. Great, now we're stuck in the fucking pool rooms. Jae-Yoon looks above them and there's also water? What in the Kingdom Hearts is going on here? Sung-Hoon notices that there's someone else in the room with them. A girl, and she's staring right at them. He pulls out the night vision camera and pans across the room and yep, there's a girl. And she's dressed in a high school uniform. Ah, this might be one of those high school girls that died 30 years ago. Sung-Hoon proceeds to do a horror movie trope that I hate. You can only see the girl when the camera is on her. Yet he keeps putting the camera down and she keeps getting closer. If she only stays at one place when the camera is on her, then stop taking the camera off her. At least so we can see what the hell is going on. Who knows how much closer she's getting when you put the camera down? He puts the camera back up and it starts to distort. Demonic noises filling the entire room. Everyone begins to cry and low-key fuck Sung-Hoon for being in on this whole thing, but I do feel bad for the three, especially Jae-Yoon and Eun-Yeon. Then all of the former patients of the hospital appear on camera. Hands cover Eun-Yeon's face and her eyes turn black. Jae-Yoon following soon after. And then we get one of the scariest scenes in the whole movie, as the girl from earlier appears right in front of Sung-Hoon. She screams and then palms his entire face. He screams in terror as his eyes turn black. Holy shit, most of the crew is dead at this point now. We cut back to Hyunjun and he makes his way to room 402. He calls out for everyone, but no one's there. He then looks out the window and he sees himself? How the fuck? How is that possible? An entity then levitates towards Hyunjun, pressing up against his back. He turns on the night vision and we see her in all her glory. I believe this is the spirit of the director, who was rumored to have hung herself. So we can all take a wild guess on how she's gonna kill Hyunjun. Wait a minute. The person we saw earlier being choked to death in the window, that was him! The hospital showed him how he was gonna die. He was seeing his future death. Oh my god, that's so cool. Well, not for Hyunjun, of course, but still. The director's ghost begins to scream and so does Hyunjun, as we see his body being levitated up and he begins to suffocate. The drone camera falls out the sky and we cut to Sung-Wook. Oh shit, I totally forgot he was still alive. He wakes up, head covered in blood from his wound, and he's bound to a wheelchair. And honestly, this scene makes me feel really bad for him. This is terrifying, man. Look at his face. You can see all the facial faces of the patients in the hospital as he's being forcefully pushed into room 402. The door being shut and all we can hear is his screams as they slowly fade away. We cut back to the live stream and they only have 500 viewers now. The show had cut right after Sung Hoon admitted they faked everything. The viewers not even knowing they witnessed the real death of these people. The spirit sitting in a chair gets up, showing that was not just a website graphic, also really cool. We get one last shot of all the paranormal hotspots in the hospital as the holy water Charlotte placed earlier begins to boil and it cuts to black. And that, my friends, is Gonjiam Haunted Asylum. Man, this is probably one of the scarier movies I've covered so far. The acting was great, the chemistry between the characters was amazing, and the concepts were really good as well. I mean, we've seen this type of story played out a million times. People go looking for ghosts and they'll be surprised when they find said ghosts. However, it was executed in a way that just works. All in all, I say this holds up just fine today. If this were to come out now, I feel like it would still hit the same as when it came out in 2018. Have you seen Gonjiam Haunted Asylum? If so, let me know what you think of it down in the comments below. If you haven't, for sure give this one a watch. It's a terrifyingly good time. My name is Greaves, and as always, I will see you guys in the next one. Peace!